Every year, people all over the world claim they've seen something impossible. Not a ghost, not a UFO, not some blurry monster in a lake, a dinosaur. And usually those stories are easy to ignore, until someone says they caught it on camera. That's when things get weird, because suddenly you're not dealing with a rumor anymore. You're dealing with footage. A winged reptile gliding over a military zone. A herd of horned giants blocking a road at night. A creature with the body of a T-Rex walking straight past a night vision camera. And one clip, just one, that some people believe might be the most convincing dinosaur footage ever recorded. Now, to be clear, none of these videos have been proven real, but that's exactly why they spread. Because each one shows just enough to make people argue, and just little enough to keep the mystery alive. So today we're counting down 7 dinosaur videos that have the internet completely divided, and by the end, you'll probably have one clip you can't stop thinking about. If you enjoy strange animal mysteries and videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Let's start with one of the smallest dinosaurs on this list, because it may also be one of the creepiest. 7. The tiny predators in the dark. When people imagine dinosaurs, they usually picture giants, towering predators, massive horns, earth-shaking footsteps. But some of the most unsettling dinosaurs were much smaller. Take Compsognathus. This little predator lived during the late Jurassic, around 150 million years ago, and was roughly the size of a chicken. That sounds harmless, until you remember what it was built for. Long legs, light bones, a stiff tail for balance, a body designed for speed. This wasn't some clumsy little reptile. It was fast, alert, and built to hunt anything smaller than itself. Scientists even found one specimen with a whole lizard still inside its stomach. So despite its size, Compsognathus was a real predator. And if that name sounds familiar, it's probably because of Jurassic Park, where small dinosaur-like creatures swarm a girl on the beach. Now imagine something like that caught on a night camera. According to the story behind the clip, this footage came from Mexico. It's dark, grainy, and exactly the kind of low-quality video that makes the internet impossible to trust. At first, all you see is movement in the brush, then the footage slows down, and suddenly a shape becomes visible. Low to the ground. Thin body, long tail, fast, twitchy movement. Then you notice something worse. There isn't just one. There are at least 2, moving together. That detail matters because pack behavior instantly makes the footage feel more threatening, but it also makes it easier to fake. Cheap night vision hides detail. Darkness removes context. And with modern editing, almost anything can be inserted into a shadowy forest. Still, for a few seconds, the shapes are just dinosaur-like enough to make people pause. Real? Probably not. Unsettling? Absolutely. And if tiny predators in the trees feel creepy, the next clip moves from the forest to the road. Because now we're not talking about a little hunter. We're talking about a living tank. 6. The Triceratops roadblock. If Tyrannosaurus rex was the most famous predator of the late Cretaceous, then Triceratops was one of its most iconic neighbors. This dinosaur lived around 68 million years ago, and may have reached nearly 30 feet in length. It weighed over 12,000 pounds. Its skull alone was enormous. 3 horns projected from its face, and behind them sat one of the most recognizable structures in all of paleontology. That giant, bony frill. Scientists think the frill may have helped with display, mate attraction, temperature regulation, and possibly defense. Whatever its exact purpose, one thing is clear. Triceratops did not look like prey that gave up easily. This was not some passive herbivore. This was a heavily armed animal built to hold its ground. Now picture seeing not one, but a whole group of them standing across a road in the middle of the night. That's the idea behind the next clip. A driver is moving slowly down a dark road with nothing but headlights cutting through the black. Then something appears ahead, big, heavy, still. The car slows. At first, it almost looks like rocks in the road. Then one shape shifts, then another, and suddenly the video seems to show multiple large, horned animals blocking the pavement. The silhouettes, the frills, the horns. Everything about the shape screams Triceratops, at least at first glance. The scene is weirdly calm. No charging. No panic. Just the sense of a car that has driven into the middle of something ancient and completely out of place. That's part of why the clip spread so well. It doesn't show chaos, it shows normal behavior. And normal behavior can be creepier. Because the calmer something looks, the easier it is to imagine it might be real. Of course, the footage is still suspicious. The lighting is poor, the movement is limited, and the scene feels almost too perfect. But if number 6 feels strange, number 5 is even stranger. Because now we leave the road and look up at the sky. And what happens when the thing flying overhead doesn't look like any bird on Earth? 5. The flying reptile, over China. Before birds ruled the skies, another group of animals got there first. Pterosaurs. And despite how often people call them dinosaurs, they technically weren't dinosaurs at all. They were flying reptiles, the first vertebrates known to achieve true powered flight. Some species were small, others were gigantic. Certain giant pterosaurs had wingspans wider than a school bus. Their bones were hollow. Their wings were made of skin and muscle stretched over elongated fingers, and many had bizarre crests on their heads that made them look almost alien. They disappeared 66 million years ago. At least that's what science says, but one of the most talked about clips online claims otherwise. In 2014, a YouTube channel uploaded footage said to have been filmed in 1973 near Yantai, China, supposedly by a military group. The clip is short, blurry, old-looking. Exactly the kind of footage that becomes impossible to settle. But through all the grain, one thing stands out. A large winged creature glides slowly across the frame, not flapping like a bird, not darting like a bat, gliding, heavy, smooth, awkwardly large, and then people notice the head. There appears to be a crest, a raised shape sitting on top of it, which made some viewers compare the creature to Tapejara, a pterosaur known for its distinctive head crest. That comparison created a second mystery. Because fossils of Tapejara are famously associated with Brazil, so even if this creature somehow looked like a pterosaur, why would it be flying over a Chinese military zone? That question has never been answered. The clip has never been proven real. But after all these years, it also hasn't been decisively proven fake. And that's the sweet spot for internet mystery. Just enough uncertainty to survive. But if something flying over a city is hard to believe, the next clip asks you to accept something even bigger. Because now we're going from the sky to the king of predators. And this next one looks almost too obvious to work. 4. The first T-Rex clip. Few animals have become as iconic as Tyrannosaurus rex. 40 feet long. A skull packed with bone-crushing power. A bite force strong enough to destroy prey in ways almost no land animal ever could. For decades, T-Rex has been treated as the ultimate dinosaur. But modern science has complicated the picture. One of the most surprising ideas is that T-Rex probably had lips. Real lips. Soft tissue covering the teeth when the mouth was closed. That sounds strange until you hear the reasoning. Teeth exposed constantly to the air tend to dry out and crack. But Tyrannosaur teeth don't show the kind of long-term damage you'd expect if they were permanently hanging outside the mouth. So yes, T-Rex may have looked slightly less like a movie monster than most people imagine. Still terrifying. Just different. Now imagine seeing something like that in modern footage. The first T-Rex clip on this list is only about 13 seconds long. No color. Just murky video. At first, it seems to show bushes near a wooded area. Then something shifts. You wait. and then a huge head rises. The proportions are instantly familiar. Massive skull, small body behind it, the overall silhouette of a giant theropod. It looks like T-Rex, or depending on who you ask, it looks like a very bad 3D model of one. And then comes the strangest part. Instead of hunting, it appears to be eating grass. That detail completely changes the tone of the clip, because now the argument shifts, not, is that a dinosaur? But why would a T-Rex be behaving like a cow? Then the camera jerks violently. The person filming seems to look up, and the clip cuts. That ending is probably the smartest part of the whole video, because a sudden cut always makes viewers imagine something worse than what they saw. But if the first T-Rex clip looked fake, the next one is darker, meaner, and much harder to shake off, because it appears in rain, at night. And for a few seconds, it walks like it knows exactly where it's going. 3. The night vision. T-Rex night footage changes everything. Darkness hides detail. Rain distorts edges. Low-resolution cameras erase certainty. And that makes night footage the perfect breeding ground for internet mystery. The next clip was shared by a paranormal video channel and supposedly shows a large creature moving through a rainy scene at night. It doesn't run, it doesn't leap, it just walks. And that's what makes it work so well. The shape is unmistakable. A large head, tiny forelimbs, a heavy tail extending behind it, a body balanced on 2 legs. Every frame seems to whisper the same answer. T-Rex. Or at least something built exactly like one. The rain helps. The darkness helps. The poor quality helps. All of it creates the perfect environment for either a convincing hoax or a clip that will never be clear enough to dismiss completely. And that's why this one gets under people's skin. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't overplay the moment. It just presents a shape, lets it move, and leaves. No confirmed location, no reliable backstory, no evidence strong enough to settle anything, which means the viewer has to do the rest of the work. But even this isn't the strangest animal in the countdown, because now we move from land back into the water. And unlike the T-Rex clips, this one doesn't just show a dinosaur-like shape, it shows something that looks ancient in a way that's harder to explain. 2. The ancient river monster. For centuries, people have told stories about monsters in lakes and rivers, long-necked creatures, huge shapes beneath the surface, ancient animals that somehow survived in deep, hidden waters. And whenever those stories get linked to prehistory, one animal gets dragged into the conversation almost immediately: plesiosaurs, marine reptiles with long necks and paddle-like limbs living at the same time as many dinosaurs. According to science, they're long gone. But the internet never really let them die. One clip that keeps resurfacing was uploaded years ago and seems to show a large aquatic creature moving through the water. At first, the usual explanations appear: seal, manatee, damaged marine animal, optical illusion. But then people focus on the tail. It appears to split into multiple prongs. Not one clean tail. Not a normal fluke. Something stranger. Some viewers argue the creature is simply injured. Others say the separated tail sections look natural, as if they belong to the animal. And that's where the mystery deepens. Because without a source, without a known location, without a filmer who can be questioned, the clip becomes almost impossible to test. And yet one thing is hard to ignore. Whatever it is, it looks big. Too big for some of the easy explanations. Too unusual for the clip to disappear. Still, none of these videos carry the same reputation as number 1, because the final clip doesn't come from a random forest, a dark road, or a mysterious lake. It supposedly comes from behind the walls of the Soviet Union. And if the story attached to it were true, then someone may have hidden dinosaur footage for decades. 1. The KGB dinosaur. The Cold War created the perfect environment for mystery. Secret archives, restricted zones, missing records, stories that could never be checked from the outside. And that's exactly why the final clip on this list has become so famous. According to the story attached to it, this video was filmed in Russia and kept hidden inside KGB headquarters for more than 30 years. No one was supposed to see it. Then decades later, it surfaced online. The footage is short, but what it shows has fueled endless debate. A fast, two-legged creature darts across the frame. Its build is lean. Its neck is long. Its posture is bird-like, but not in a normal bird way. Many viewers compare it to an ornithomimosaur, a group of fast-running, ostrich-like dinosaurs. And honestly, that comparison makes sense. The body shape looks right. The stride looks right. The posture looks weirdly believable. That's what makes this clip so dangerous to dismiss too quickly. It doesn't look like a giant movie monster. It looks like something that could almost fit into the real world. And that subtlety makes it stronger. Of course, the problems are obvious. No verified source, no exact location, no names, no chain of evidence strong enough to prove anything. So the video remains stuck in the same place as all the others. Too suspicious to trust, too intriguing to forget. And maybe that's the real reason clips like this spread so far. Not because people fully believe them, but because for a moment they make extinction feel less certain. So what are these videos really showing? Real dinosaurs, clever fakes, misidentified animals, or just the kind of footage the internet was designed to keep alive forever? The truth is, none of these clips have been proven real, but that doesn't stop them from working, because each one does the same thing. It gives you just enough to imagine the impossible. And once you imagine it, it's hard to let go. A T-Rex in the trees, a pterosaur over a city, a herd of horned giants crossing the road, a Soviet-era dinosaur clip that maybe, just maybe, was never supposed to escape. So now I want to know, which clip do you think was the most convincing? And which one was obviously fake? Thanks for watching, and drop your answer in the comments. I'd really love to know which one you believe the most.